Okay, so in 1.7, we're talking about linear and absolute value inequalities. So we left off last class with compound inequalities, so statements with more than one inequality or restriction. So we finished up on number 10. And what was the deal with these compound inequalities? We just have to treat this as an inequality and this is an inequality, but we're doing it at the same time. So whatever we do to one side, we're going to do to all three sides, right? That's the only difference. And what's the difference between inequality, solving an inequality, and solving an equality? What do we need to do when we multiply or divide by a negative number? Flip the inequality sign. That's the only thing we need to remember with these, right? Okay, so number 11 says negative 21 is less than or equal to negative 2 over 3x plus 9, which is less than or equal to 7. So let's do this one together. So I'm going to subtract 9 from all three sides. So 7 minus 9 is negative 2. And in the middle, I have negative 2/3 x. And then I have negative 21 minus 9, which is negative 30. Now what? I'm trying to solve for x, right? So I need to get everything away from the x. So I have negative 2/3 times x. So the opposite of multiplication is division. I'm going to divide by negative 2/3. Oops. Dividing by negative 2/3 is the same as what? Dividing by negative 2/3 is the same as what?
Multiplying by negative 3x.
Good. So dividing by 2/3, dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay? So negative 30 times 3/2 is what? 60? No, 45. And then I multiplied or divided by a negative, right? So I need to flip my inequality signs. And then on the right-hand side, I should have 3. Okay, so now let's put it on the number line. What's important from going from here to the number line? I have to make sure my number line goes in order, right? Smallest to largest. Same thing with interval. Smallest to largest. I'm reading left to right. So I have 3. I have 45. We can choose 20 in the middle, whatever we want. Not to scale. So 3 and 45, is that an open circle or a closed circle? Closed because it has the equal. They're both closed. So I get x is greater than or equal to 3. So which way am I shading? Right. Because I can put 20 in there. 20 is greater than or equal to 3. So I'm going to go this way. And for 45, 45 is greater than or equal to what? Which way? Left. Good. So what is my solution? It's this overlapping part, right? So I have hard bracket 3 to 45, hard bracket. All right, number 12, why don't you guys do it on your own? I'll write my solution up here. Only look if you need to check. So did I get it right? Are you sick? Did I get it right? I think 2 people are saying yes. What do you guys think? See, people are still working, so I'll give you another minute. So should I go over this? Are you guys good? It's just fractions. Everything else is the same, right? So some people are saying yes. What do you guys think? Yeah? Good? Is anything not clear? Should I talk through it at all? I think we're all good, yeah? Okay, so the next section, D, is absolute value inequalities. So we talked about how to solve absolute value problems. And the way we solved absolute value problems was once we take the absolute value, on the other side of the equals, we keep one the same and we switch the other one. But now what we're going to do is we're going to keep one the same and we're going to flip the inequality and flip the sign. So we're just adding a little extra piece from solving absolute value equations. Whereas with the equation, we keep one the same, and then we switch the sign for the other one. Here, we're keeping one the same, and then we're switching the sign and the inequality. So that's the only new thing. So this is just notation, but we're doing the same thing. Okay? Do you see how you're keeping one exactly the same and flipping the inequality, flipping the sign? And then here you're keeping one exactly the same, and here you're flipping the inequality and flipping the sign. Well, now you could probably see that, huh? So here we're keeping one the same, and we're flipping the inequality, flipping the sign. And here we're keeping one the same, and here we're flipping the inequality and flipping the sign. For some reason, it just wants to, in the book, they want to point out that that's what you're doing for both, whether it's less than or greater than, whatever you're starting with. Okay, so solve the following and express the solution in interval notation. So this is when we need to know the intersection and the union stuff that we talked about last class in order to put our answer in interval notation. Okay, so let's do the first one. Solve the following and express in interval notation. So the first one, we keep everything the same, we just take away the absolute value. For the second part, we take away the absolute value, and then we flip the inequality, and we flip the sign. Okay? So keep one the same, and the other one is flip the inequality, flip the sign. So now let's put that on the number line and see what we have. We have -3. We'll put 0 on there, and we have 3. Do I have closed circles or open circles around 3 and -3? Closed. So let's do -3. X is greater than -3. Which way do I shade? Right. And then I have X is less than 3. Which way do I shade? Left. Jason's got the shading business down, huh? And then I care about that overlapping. So I'm looking for the intersection of those two things, right? So that is -3 to 3. Hard brackets. Not bad, right? You're just flipping the inequality, flipping the sign. So number 14, we're going to keep it exactly the same. Oops. So the absolute value of x is greater than 3. Split that into 2. X is greater than 3. Or x is less than negative 3. So let's put that on a number line. So I have negative 3, I have 0, and I have 3. Do I have closed circles or open circles around 3 and negative 3? Open, because I don't have the equals to. If it's less than or greater than, that's an open circle. So negative 3, x is less than negative 3. Which way do I shade? Left, because if you plug in a value, if you say 0 is less than negative 3, that's not true. So I don't shade towards 0, I shade towards the other way. X is greater than 3. Give me a number that's greater than 3. 4. Shade towards 4. Okay, so how do I write this in interval notation? So I have 3 to infinity. Soft brackets. That's this part, right? Good. But don't forget about this part. Negative infinity to negative 3. And what needs to go in between those two intervals? The union, right? Good, Jason. The union. So I have this set or this set, right? The answer is in this, here, or here. Okay. So what's the difference with number 15? I just have one more step, right? I just have to add 7. That's it. So we're going to, the whole deal with absolute value inequalities is I'm going to keep one exactly the same. And then for the other one, I'm going to flip the inequality and flip the sign. Okay, now I just need to solve these like they were linear equations. So for both of them, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. I got an answer, so I'm going to stick that on the number line. I have 1. I'll put 6 there and 13. Do I have open circles or closed circles around 1 and 13? Open, because it's less than or greater than. It's not, I don't have the equals to. If it's equals to, it's a closed circle. Okay, so x is less than 13. Which way am I shading? Left, good. Because 6 is less than 13. That's true, so I'm going to shade this way. X is greater than 1. What is greater than 1? 6 is greater than 1, right? So I want that overlap. So who can help me write that in interval notation? Well, do I have soft brackets or hard brackets? Soft, right? And the overlap is 1 to 3. Or 1 to 13, I'm sorry. So that's the answer. What do you guys think? So what's the thing that we need to remember when we're solving inequalities?
Multiply, divide by negative, flip the sign.
Okay, so think about that. You guys do number 16 on your own. When you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip the inequality. So first, split this into 2 pieces, and then make sure you're remembering to multiply or divide by a negative. I'll write my answer up here. Only look up if you need a hint. This one's a little tricky. So maybe look up and verify your first step. That absolute value should turn into parentheses. So did I get it right?
Do you want to distribute the negative?
You can.
Before you split it into two, could you get rid of the negative on the other side and then do it into two?
Yes. I think that might be more along the lines of how we talked about it before, to isolate the absolute value first, and then,
Okay.
so that would have been fine too. That, I should have done it that way. So there's a couple different ways to solve stuff, right? Did people get the same answer? Yes? We're good? Okay, so there's only a couple more problems in this section of exactly this type, but we'll finish it up next class. We'll do questions now for the test, and then if there aren't questions, we'll continue with these problems. Okay, so let me stop recording. Are there any questions about this?